How did they do it? Absolutely incredible.
The Prinx Tires USL Cup returns to Soccer County tonight, and we bring you the first edition of a fierce regional rivalry, the Battle of New York in Group 5 between Westchester SC and New York Cosmos. We say hello and welcome from the stadium at Memorial Field. Alongside Eric Dobransky, I'm Sam Goldfarb. These two League One foes squaring off for the first time ever and in rocky runs of form at the moment.
Yeah, both teams that have shown they could be dangerous going forward, but have struggled to provide that needed stability in both halves of the field. For each of these teams, it's about finding that balance without sacrificing one phase of the game for another, having that collective recognition and discipline to control the fine margins that ultimately define matches like this.
These two sides, despite their struggles, do boast some creative playmakers that have made a difference, and it gives us a chance to check in with our Northwell Health players to watch. Starting with Westchester, Kyle Evans, a revelation, a pair of assists in the last cup match against Portland.
He is a midfielder who brings composure, savviness, and a genuine understanding of tempo. He helps Westchester play through the lines, but he also does a great job of making himself available in advanced spaces, which makes him difficult to track and account for. That's going to be massive tonight because the team that better manages rhythm and control may ultimately control the match itself.
Evans has been tremendous going forward. His opposite number has certainly been that as well. Ajmir Spengler for New York Cosmos, leading the league in goals at the moment.
Yeah, is the type of player that can control the direction of a match through his quality and his ability to unmark himself with his unique movement off the ball. He does a tremendous job of attracting pressure, getting himself face forward towards goal, creating advantageous positions for those around him. If Westchester is forced to collapse towards him too often, that can generate the kind of space the Cosmos can exploit in the final third.
He is the player that makes everything tick going forward for a prolific Cosmos attack. Just about ready for the first ever Battle of New York in Westchester County. It is Westchester Soccer Club and New York Cosmos for the first time ever. Both sides looking to surge up the Group 5 table. Stick with us, lineups and kickoff when we return from Mount Vernon.
$300. That's about how many events the Community Police Relations Foundation has done in just the last year.
Tens of thousands of positive interactions between law enforcement and the communities they serve. We exist to break down barriers, to humanize the badge, to foster trust, understanding, and lasting relationships. It's changing how communities see the uniform every single day. Together, we can redefine the story and turn 300 moments of connection into tomorrow's 3,000.
Eligible for Medicare? Here's a great new reason to be happy. You may qualify for money-saving programs that could lower your Medicare costs. Just talk to a Health First specialist about programs like Extra Help, Epic, and more. To learn how New Yorkers like you can save, call 1-844-434-6399. Health First Medicare Advantage Plans, where healthy starts.
Come on, get happy.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health, so we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
Prinx Tires is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Built for practical performance and the long haul, Prinx delivers reliability for everyday drivers like you. Visit PrinxTiresUSA.com to learn more. We welcome you back to Westchester County, where we are just about set for kickoff in the first edition of the Battle of New York. This match presented by the Community Police Relations Foundation. It is Westchester SC and New York Cosmos for the first time ever at the stadium at Memorial Field. And now it gives us a chance to check in with our starting lineups presented by RXR Realty, Westchester Soccer Club's first choice for housing solutions, and just one change for Westchester from the defeat last week at Fort Wayne.
Come out in 4-2-3-1 with a lot of attention to Guzin, Burko out wide, two players capable of creating dangerous isolated moments in the final third. Then defensively, Pierre and Bowman will be critical in keeping this group organized and compact, especially in how they squeeze the spaces between the lines against a creative Cosmos attack.
On the opposite side of things, speaking of that creative Cosmos attack, there's plenty to fear. We've spoken about Ashmir Spengler, but Christian Kofi and Nick Zalonka are dangerous as well.
And the attention goes to, as well, the introduction of goalkeeper Javier Garcia, whose presence could help guide this team's collective defensive identity. Then in front of them, Mandanka and Milovanov. That holding midfield position just seems so critical tonight. Massive dual role defensively, screening passes, protecting that back line, while also helping initiate a lot of attacking sequences.
You mentioned Javier Garcia. He starts in place of Tristan Stefani. He was signed on May 6th. This is his debut for his new club. Just about ready to get everything underway in Group 5 action of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. A Westchester side with 2 points on the board after prevailing on penalties against Portland a couple weeks back. Meanwhile, New York empty-handed. The 3-0 defeat at home against Brooklyn effectively needs some sort of result tonight to keep themselves in contention heading into the final 2 match days of group play. The referees take center stage, presiding over what could be a testy one. A Westchester side in year 2 of its existence. A New York side that made some waves when they announced their intention to move to USL League One in their 3rd iteration of the New York Cosmos. It's not necessarily the two fan bases that are the fondest of one another, and it should make for a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, those waves already generated before kickoff. I mean, this is the first matchup against each other this season, obviously in the Prinx Tires USL Cup, and still haven't faced off in the regular season. So I think we're in for a fantastic matchup. Obviously, two teams that stylistically, match up in a way where there's going to be a lot of give and takes, and there's going to be ebbs and flows for both these teams, and who converts those moments into the louder and defining moments is going to dictate a lot of what we see throughout this 90 minutes.
We will see how everything unfolds here. Our referee, Dorian Del Toro, presides over everything. Westchester in their home blues, going from left to right. New York in the classic green and white from right to left. And we just await a referee signal to open the first chapter of the Battle of New York. And we are underway. The start of a new rivalry in the USL ranks, and it begins in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Sam Goldfarb, Eric Dobransky on hand. Westchester side looking to push towards the top of Group 5. A Cosmos side looking to make a major statement in the first of 3 scheduled meetings this year across all comps. Here's the early foray forward from McGlynn. Falls kindly for Kyle Evans, who is always a dynamo on the ball. Burko weaves past Kofi and is dispossessed. Well, Eric, already a pretty rapid start.
And what you would expect from a Westchester side that wants to be the aggressor. They're the home side. They want to make sure that they have their foot firmly on the gas.
Gives us a chance to check in with our keys to the game presented by Health First.
Well, just as we were talking about, win final actions for Westchester. You're the aggressor, you're the team at home. You want to be the one that sets the temperature of this match early and often. And for the New York Cosmos, staying connected defensively, obviously offensively, they've showcased the ability to be extremely dangerous, but defensively, can you turn some of that defensive moments, that defensive posture, into a sustained offensive attack?
Here's Kofi and Spengler. Those two are always dangerous on it. Plays it wide to Zalonka. He's a player that the Cosmos brass is extremely high on, someone who excelled at UMass and then Kentucky later on. This is his first chance in a proper professional stage. Kofi. Looking wide for Zalonka. It's broken up by Noah Powder. And Evans looking to play out of danger. This is where Westchester's at their best, with the wind in their sails, pressing forward. Well, Eric, we touched on it off the top. It is a pair of sides not in the best of form for Westchester. Started April in brilliant fashion, back-to-back victories in league play, but since then, winless in their last 5 across all comps, and defensively, that's been the major problem. Similar problems to last year.
Yeah, it's all about protecting your goal and protecting your box. You hear from so many coaches throughout so many different leagues, and especially, you know, throughout League One and the championship, is how do you perform and make those plays in both boxes? You go out and score goals, but you have to make those same commitment and those same plays in the defensive box. And in those 2 wins, only 1 goal conceded in both those games. So that shows that they have that ability to find that balance and sustain that kind of quality. But now it's about doing it game in, game out, and finding that ability to implement your identity, your style of play, regardless of what the game is, you know, demanding and asking of you.
George Jokai has spoken about the importance of balance, creating a squad that keeps numbers parked behind the ball, even in possession, and perhaps you've seen that waver a little, but even in some of their more recent matches against Fort Wayne, out shooting them, dominating possession, just unlocked by the one big chance that came the other way, and that's what's cost them throughout the league and cup campaigns, as Evans weaves through traffic there and wins the match's first corner.
That right there is a player that they are going to continue to lean on, can not only guide them offensively, but also spearhead a lot of what they're trying to do on the defensive side.
Sets up the match's first Ice Air corner kick. All corner kicks brought to you by Ice Air, keeping Westchester cool and comfortable, and Dean Guzin stands over it. In-swinger. Headed toward the back post. Pierre back into the mix, and Javier Garcia passes his first test.
Anytime you're playing and you have 2 teams that are feeling really frail about their defensive kind of output and their structure, you want to make that team feel uncomfortable. You want to put them in predicaments that kind of unbalance them and make them make decisions that they didn't want to have to make this early. I mean, pull them out of position, have them step the lines, move them side to side, and I think that's for both these teams. How do you do that early, and then how do you sustain it? Because we all know that there's going to be spells where you're not on the ball, that you're just not, you know, carrying that momentum. Good ball over the top.
Burko nearly got there.
Yeah. And that's the balance right here for Westchester, that ability to kind of drag a back line and expose that space in high, but also have that central player in Bloomstein that can have that hold-up play.
Another Ice Air corner kick. Dean Guzin a second crack right in front of the band that has not stopped playing since kickoff. In case you were wondering what the atmosphere would be like for the Battle of New York. In-swinger. Headed away at the near post. Neither corner met George Jokai's desired outcome. Guzin getting another crack though. Always weaves a web of lies. Finally upended, wins a set piece for Westchester.
That's quality, relentless play from Westchester. Winning those first and second balls, controlling a lot of that tempo here early on, and making sure that this ball is living in the defensive half of the New York Cosmos.
It is a side that wants to be the protagonist, but New York themselves is known for playing a very attack-minded style, so something will have to give. It's Alexi Armas and Dean Guzin in the vicinity of this free kick. And Guzin is known for having a pop from long range. Curls this into the mix. Falls for Kyle Evans. Bauman clipping it back in. Burko was offside.
Those are 2 dead ball restarts that Guzin have is left short. His first corner was in a dangerous area and gave his team some opportunity to get on the end of the service, but second corner and then that free kick right there, just failing to clear that first line of defense. And it's going to be something that you either step away from the next free kick and let a teammate take it, or you obviously just kind of recognize the area and the spaces that you're occupying and make sure that the execution kind of meets that philosophy.
You got your first look at Javier Garcia there, someone who was excellent a year ago with Texoma, signed with the club on May 6th. There's some ongoing injury troubles for New York, including between the sticks. Derek Chan, who had taken over from Tristan Stefani earlier this year, is out with injury. They've had experience issues between the sticks, so they go out and sign Garcia, who is the all-time penalty saves leader in USL League One and made all 6 of those saves in one season with Texoma last year. It was frankly remarkable. So he's a pretty good player to get off the free agent market at this stage.
And as you mentioned, remarkable and elite shot stopper and just tremendous command of his box.
Armas has issues playing out of trouble here. And dunk up. Spengler picks out the soft spot in the defense. Zalonka is offside. Westchester dodging a major bullet there.
Yeah, that was just a fraction offside from Zalonka. Almost looked like just the tip of his right boot was offside because he was sitting in that pocket of space, and if he would have just been a bit more patient there at the end, my goodness, that would have been a dangerous opportunity here early for the Cosmos.
Would have been harsh on Westchester as well, given how they started.
Definitely been against the run of play, but fortunate that they stepped their line at the right time. That's sometimes some of those early warning shots that when you do have a lot of the sustained possession like Westchester's seen, and they're winning a lot of those first and second balls in the attacking half, you get a moment like that, it's called offside. You kind of look up and you have that discussion with each other and say, hey, we need to tighten up the pressure on the ball. Kind of some of the areas we're screening passes, how we're guarding some of these spaces.
Here's Evans. He's an expert at picking out soft spots in opposing defenses. It's knocked wide for Burko. Both of his goals this season coming outside of league play. It's over the top for Evans. Goes first time at it and can't put it on frame. It's now time to check out our injury report presented by Northwell Health. Nothing reported for either side, but speaking to both coaches, there are some ailment concerns, especially with the Cosmos. No Derek Chan and no Jordan Chavez as well in the heart of defense. So a pair of key defenders out, still looking to get back up to full strength. And Darren C. Dole, who's the midfield engine, is also absent as well. So while not listed, those 3 are not in the squad.
You gotta believe that as this game plays out, it's going to be fascinating to see the approach from both these sides. Obviously, Westchester getting the result in their first Prinx Tires USL Cup match in penalties. But then Cosmos with that 3-0 defeat against Brooklyn. But both these teams are in such search for consistency and stacking performances and building some traction, not only just in the USL Cup, but into their regular season. So performances matter. And how you go out and manage this match and win not only your individual duels, but then gather that into how you perform collectively, it's just so crucial for both these sides.
Here's Kofi. Needing support, and he can't pick out Mendonca. To your point as well, we even spoke to Davide Corti, who mentioned to us the Prinx Cup on paper isn't our primary priority. However, this is the first time we get a chance to get a look at Westchester, and for league play, the meetings coming up, that's important to see how we stack up. Here's Guzin. It falls kindly for McGlynn, who just lashes at it over and clears the wrong set of uprights. It's not a sight you'd like to see as an opposing goalkeeper.
I was just about to say, this is where McGlynn has made a living of being dangerous, and unfortunately just unable to put this on target. It's been one of those areas where The last thing you want to see is Connor McGlynn faced up at your goal right outside the 18-yard box, because he has full capability of being lethal.
Kofi's been lethal as well. It's a curling effort and claimed by Marinelli, albeit unconvincingly. Well, there is some goalkeeping drama as well for Westchester. Andrew Hammersley's been injured as well, so they actually had to make 2 signings. Luca Marinelli is one of those. The product of Sacred Heart was formerly Hammersley's backup at Sacred Heart a couple years ago. He started now the last couple league matches, and this is his first crack in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Overall, decent numbers so far, but this is a proper test for him in a heated rivalry fixture. It's always an interesting one. No Hammersley, no Matias Molina either, due to those injuries, and so you're forced to make 2 signings out of the blue and revamp your entire back line in one stroke of the pen, so to speak. This is turned over. Evans can't dart beyond his defender, and Donka carrying it out of trouble. Spengler. Mason. Mendonca again. Former league champion and MLS Next Pro in North Texas SC 2 years ago. Well, Eric, it is mostly one-way traffic, but you're starting to see New York gain a foothold in this.
And that spell of possession came off a very nervy turnover, and you have to like the work that Blumstein is doing on the Westchester side, centrally occupying the 2 center backs, putting the pressure when there is there. But to the point you just made, the Cosmos are starting to find that outlet, and that initial outlet is then springing a lot of various space going forward. So that's going to be something that Westchester is going to want to be aware of, because yes, they're getting pressure from that front line, but it is conceding some space beyond that, and the Cosmos are starting to expose it and starting to find some sustained attacking presence. But now it's about how do they go about picking up the ball kind of earlier on in some of these Westchester possessions.
Here's McGlynn, switches the play marvelously to Burko. He's in plenty of space, curling cross towards the back post, tracked down by Noah Powder. McGlynn again. Evans keeps it in play. Far too tight on Garcia, though. It's been a match that's been played at breakneck pace to start.
And even just in that sequence, how you break that pressure. Obviously, it was light pressure, but you're able to break that line, eliminate defenders. You haven't necessarily gone at that rapid tempo here in this possession, but still, you get yourself on the ball, you get yourself some touches, and then you can get players like Kofi, Guinzotti higher up the field, involved in the final third.
Here is Guinzotti, one of the top goal scorers in USL Championship history. He is also the only holdover from the last rendition of the New York Cosmos. He played for them during their 2017 NASL campaign, I believe. He was one of the first signings they made when they started to retool the roster. Milovanov switching the play and doing so well. Zalonka was looking for Guinzotti, but tracked step for step by Powder.
And you could see how deliberate Westchester is being with the wide areas and how they're choosing to attack them. Jennings on this right side for Westchester is playing as more of the holding. He's sitting and kind of leaning on that central line midfield to get himself involved, whereas Powder is getting himself fully engaged in the final third. And a lot of it is the outlet of Burko along that right side and the physical presence of Blumstein there centrally. You just got to wonder if that's going to open up some threat for Guzin and Kyle Evans moving forward.
It's an interesting adjustment from George Jokai as well, because Blumstein dealt with a holdover from last season's injury issues. didn't really work his way properly back into the fold until 2-3 matches into the year, and now has started to crack the lineup the last 2 games. He is a proper center forward, but Daniel Burko was being deployed there. So now you see Burko forced out wide to accommodate Blumstein. And we'll see how that dynamic evolves over the course of this season. On cue, there is Burko out wide.
You make a great point, because when you have that proper number 9 or that central forward figure within the confines of wanting to be unpredictable on the ball and the attacking half, you need predictability for your own team. You need to know that you have some hold-up play coming up, that you can get it from your central forward, and then that allows for runs to develop beyond and into that dangerous space. So you could see that work already.
And Blumstein finding Burko, whose effort is deflected out of play. Davey Mason closing him down.
And case in point, it allows Burko to climb the field, understand that you're going to get a forward that is quality in the hold-up play, but also knows what decisions need to follow that hold-up play.
It's another ice air corner kick, keeping Westchester cool and comfortable. Let's see if Dean Guzin has better luck at the 3rd time of asking here. More target practice for Guzin in Westchester. Another in-swinger, this far better, but touch too tight on Garcia. Cleared only as far as Jennings, who marks it back into the mix, and Noaker is there to head away. I don't think that band will stop playing all night.
I was going to say, they fully understood the assignment tonight, and they have been a constant fixture in this first 19 minutes.
Imagine how they'll react if a goal flies in.
Yeah.
I wonder if the tenor of the notes changes at all. It's a long throw here for Westchester. Armas, and that is right to Garcia.
I like how much Westchester is testing Garcia early, but they have not done it with any traffic in and around Garcia. Obviously, the free kicks and the corner kicks have been opportunities, but they haven't made him move around chaos. So a lot of kind of simple meeting the ball at the highest point, you know, being sure-handed in those moments. And those are where Javier Garcia excels.
Are you of the school of thought where you want them to crowd the goalkeeper and make the referee make a decision?
I am, especially early, because you want to have those initial thoughts and those initial ideas of what they're going to give you, what the referee's going to give you. It really does allow you to make decisions that further impact the game later on. And why not? You might just cause enough havoc or traffic in and around, or make a decision that influences it early, and now you're dictating tempo.
Kofi slipping Guenzati in, but Marinelli off his line of collect.
This is good defensive work from Westchester. Kofi always dangerous, facing forward and playing on the dribble. And Guenzati obviously is a prolific goal scorer, so you're always concerned about what his run is going to produce, but we're able to stay compact and make that ball very narrow.
Evans linking well with Blumstein. Has Guzin in support. This is Dean Guzin. Evans again. And the cavalry has arrived now for New York. Numbers behind the ball once again. Bauman. Guzin. Armas. Falls to the feet of Spengler, and this is where he's at his best. He's hunting the run of Zalanka, but Bobby Pierre is miles in front of him there. "20 minutes gone here in Westchester County. Sam Goldfarb alongside Eric Dobransky on hand. Battle of New York in Prinx Tires USL Cup Group 5, and no score between Westchester SC and New York Cosmos. With a win tonight, Westchester could finish the evening top of the group in Group 2. Of course, it is a loaded group of teams, 6 different sides, 3 from USL Championship, 3 from League One. Westchester has to finish group play, their final 2 matches away from home at championship foes. So it is imperative to get as many points as possible from these opening 2 fixtures if they have any hope of progressing. Remember, it is the top teams from all 7 groups in addition to the best place, second place finisher that progress to the knockout stage of the Prinx Tires USL Cup later on in the summer. Last year, the victors, Hartford Athletic, the holders, are in this group, and Westchester will face them on the final day of group play. Bauman. Looks long for Burko, who does get there at the second time of asking. Blumstein. Guzin. Not on the same wavelength as Powder. Well, fans, Westchester Soccer Club is excited to partner with Redefined Meals, our go-to destination for fresh, healthy, prepared meals. Scan the QR code on the screen for a free meal at Redefined Meals in Hartsdale. Watching these opening 23 minutes or so, it feels like the opener is going to come off a giveaway.
That is completely fair, and I think for Westchester, there's 2 pieces to it, because I think Armas and Connor McGlynn can kind of deploy themselves off this back line a bit earlier than they have, because the Cosmos are kind of exposing those pockets of space, but they've also done it in ways that have disguised some of the pressure. We've seen some of the pressure from the front line, and then all of a sudden that rapid increase in tempo of climbing that space, causing that turnover. But the same for the Cosmos. They've disguised some of their pressure, and I think for Westchester, it's been a bit more of unforced turnovers and some casual play, whereas for the Cosmos, Westchester has forced them into some difficult, case in point, I mean, right back on the ball, they have made some space difficult to play into, but they've also made it inviting for the Cosmos to play into that space, and that's exactly what you want to do when you're guiding a team into areas that you're okay with giving up, and also making sure that you're in positions where you can retain possession and regain possession.
Setting the pressing traps, if you will. When Zadi's fouled there by Pierre. When talking to George Jokai, we've spoken to a number of times this season, and he's spoken about the primary things of emphasis beyond just being defensively sound is covering ground and flying into challenges. He said last year, sometimes the squad wasn't always the most durable. Obviously, they dealt with a number of injuries, and so because of that, maybe the running stats weren't high enough. He said that this preseason, they paid extensive attention to running stats, players that were willing to cover ground, and getting more youth in the squad. So you see them quite assertive, and that press does sustain itself over 90 minutes. The question is, though, can they clamp down on some of the opportunities they're affording opponents? This is given away, and here's Armas. Evans streaking in behind, cuts it back. Holt doesn't clear decisively. Armas still on it. It is still Alexi Armas who goes down, and the referee is unmoved.
Wow, what a sustained moment from Westchester. Just the work rate to get on the ball, but to stay on the ball.
Kofi. It may be 0-0 on the score sheet, but this feels like a track meet right now.
Yeah, you were just talking about ground coverage. I mean, it has had to be front and center here 26 minutes in.
Kofi. McGlynn breaks it up.
I think some of the issue for the Cosmos playing out when they do get back on the ball in their defensive half is Kofi and Zalanka have had to drop so deep to get themselves on the ball that they've kind of taking themselves out of play as we see Armas getting himself back on the ball. You thought this play right here, there's not enough there to concede a penalty. You did think he did the work to get back on the ball, but just too easy to go down there.
If you don't give the initial challenge where he won it back as a foul, you can't give that.
100% agree, and I think that's why I know Westchester's going to be irate about not getting the call, but you're 100% right.
You can tell it means a ton to both sets of players, though. The way they're reacting to these decisions or non-decisions, they understand the importance for the bragging rights amongst themselves and their supporters. You hear it in the backdrop. It is a crowded house. Fans have turned out in full support for this one. Of course, Paterson, New Jersey, where New York Cosmos play their home match, is just about a 40-minute drive from Westchester County. Holt plays it forward for Zelanka. Kofi has yet to hit the heights he hit at Huntsville City a year ago, but always dangerous on the ball. Gwenzati, trio of tallies to his name in league play thus far. Milovanov, broken up by Powder. Immediately turned back over. Only briefly, though. Guzin.
I know you look at it, and the Cosmos have had moments where they're just one pass away from getting into space. But in all reality, it's been a predictable pass and not something where they've been able to move that final defender to kind of either step to the right, step to the left to open up that gap to play into. So although you see the runner in behind and you go, they were just that pass away from getting into some dangerous space, they've got to take the extra touch or make the extra pass to move somebody.
Spangler. Can he add a layer of unpredictability into the mix? Mendonca. Mason. It's one of the few sustained periods of possession we've seen from the Cosmos thus far. Noaker. Arcing it forward. Really fell kindly for Gwenzati. The whistle sound against him anyway. Well, fans, don't miss your chance to be part of history when we host Fort Wayne for the first time at 7 p.m. on Friday, June 10th. Tickets are on sale now. 30 minutes gone here in Westchester County. Alongside Eric Dobransky, Sam Goldfarb here. No score in the Battle of New York in Group 5 of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. It is a Westchester side hoping to go top of Group 5 with a result tonight. It is a Cosmos squad looking to get on the board after falling 3-0 a few weeks back in their opener in this tournament against Brooklyn FC. It's not necessarily the kindest of ways to start a tournament, especially away at a championship side with the former League One Golden Boot winner in Juan Carlos Obregon Jr., who laced up the cleats for Westchester SC a year ago. Heard reports that he was actually back in the stands for the NYCFC match, the US Open Cup round of 32 fixture. Good to see him still supporting his former side.
Treated to an explosive match as well. 5-2. I mean, that's the resilience that this Westchester side is going to showcase this year. Open Cup, obviously the result against Portland Hearts of Pine in the first match of this USL Cup. But you could just feel the sense that Westchester's growing into a consistent identity, and we've seen it right now. For George Jokai and his side, in this matchup particular, now it's just about slowing down some of the pace that we're seeing, and you mentioned it, back and forth, box to box. Can you start minimizing some of those threats and having to go 100 yards down the field and then get back going forward? We deal with the long throw.
Armas into the mix. There is a touch to it. They can't head it over the line, though, and Garcia was fouled anyways. They listened to your advice, and the referee blew his whistle.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of teams go right back to having these long throws in their arsenal, in their toolbox, the ability to get numbers in the box, force a save, or at least force some difficult decisions. Good outlet here for the Cosmos.
Mason. Kofi. Interesting choice of words there when describing the set piece partner. Spengler. Mason giving chase. Burko first to it, but it is out for the Cosmos' first corner.
And why not this be an opportunity for the Cosmos to get more numbers in the box, give themselves an opportunity to get on some of these second and third phases. But you gotta win that first touch. You gotta make the initial touch, influence this play.
It is Mendonca who stands over this, their first ice air corner kick of the night, and it comes just after the half-hour mark. And if they could conjure something from this, it would be against the grain, but a major momentum-building moment. It's delivered low, training ground routine this, and it doesn't come off great for Spengler that time. Well, fans, enter the Prinx Tires USL Cup Game Day Kit Sweepstakes for your chance to win a prize pack worth up to $2,000. Scan the QR code on screen and enter today.
I know that corner didn't necessarily come off and end up on frame, but that is a clever way of getting Spengler involved in the match. He's been kind of not isolated, but he's been bottled up there in midfield. They've screened passes into him. They've made sure that they have numbers in around, as we do see now, a yellow card.
It's Nick Mendonca.
He takes the corner and works down into the defensive half and makes this tackle, the contact really on Kyle Evans. But this is a moment for Westchester that they've been able to hit on the various phases of the game. They can do it in possession. They've obviously given themselves some opportunities on corners, free kicks, and also now having those hints of some transition, some counter-attacking moments.
Just beyond the 35-minute threshold, another chance for Alexi Armas to ask questions of this back line. Floated in, flick on for Burko. It was touched along, finally cleared away. And now the whistle sounds against Westchester. Maybe Armas facing the ire of our official now. And he is booked.
Yeah, just as we were making that point with the calls for Armas in the attacking box, same here. If you give a yellow for that foul and that intervention on Kyle Evans, this is exactly what this is right here.
Quinzati upended and Armas in the book as a result. All right, fans, well, you can enter the Prinx Tires USL Cup Game Day Kit Sweepstakes for your chance to win a prize pack up to $2,000. Scan the QR code on screen and enter today.
Boomstein is a problem up there right now, and he is just tightening up the screws on some of those pressing cues And then even when he's just a tad bit late, he's getting some of that physical pressure on him and making those center backs very uncomfortable.
Someone who's played in top academies in the Netherlands, played for Volendam in the Dutch second tier as well. They're optimistic about what he can provide. He was limited to around 10 appearances across all comps a year ago due to nagging injury issues and a season-ending ankle injury around the late summer. However, since coming back from that, he's provided some real threat going forward, and they're positive about what he can offer going ahead. There's Mendonca. Escorted wide. Noah Kerr. A rare foray forward from center back. Guenzati laying it off. The Cosmos lose out again. Guzin was looking for Blumstein. It's broken up by Noah Kerr.
Those are the moments right there when the Cosmos get back on the ball. Why not be brave and go forward? I know it's been a game where the Westchester's seen a lot of possession, and you do want to get a sense of the ball. You want to circulate. You want to get some touches. But one of your big playmakers, Spengler, has just not found his rhythm and not been able to ball. So why not force the issue in that moment where you dispossess them? You've already eliminated some defenders because of where you dispossessed Westchester. Try to punish them for it.
They're throwing numbers forward here now. It's just a question of whether they can find that bit of incision required. Haven't yet. Here's Kofi. He's looking for Guenzati. Not enough on the ball forward, and Armas is fouled. It was an interesting conversation with Davide Corti earlier today because he spoke about how last time out, 2 weeks ago against Portland Hearts of Pine, their last match in competitive action, he felt his side didn't show enough personality, enough fight. A squad that is pretty young still, one of the younger median ages in the league, and he said to me that over the course of the last 2 weeks, they've emphasized showing more personality, bringing more experience into the fold as well, hence the addition of Javier Garcia, Lamine Jauna also joining this week as well. There is a real desire to add an infusion of proven talent into the mix now and couple that with the promising youth throughout the side. And feels that will leave them better equipped to handle some of these adverse road conditions. Of course, going to Portland with a young squad, especially a young squad that maybe doesn't have the most USL League One experience, is not a simple task by any means. Here tonight, you've seen the required intensity, but not a lot of incision. We'll see if that changes here, though. Spengler cutting inside, going for goal, rolling it just wide. Marinelli watched it the whole way.
There it is, the turnovers that can haunt teams. Got to retreat back, you got to make the defensive play, and that Westchester does. They're able to slow down the ball, they're able to take away the option of Guenzati, making it very predictable that Spengler has to go on goal, and that's what you want when you're broken in some of those turnovers. Good ability to get back defensively, but that's what you want for the New York Cosmos. You want to have some of those moments where you have 2v1, you have Guenzati, you have Spengler on the ball. Let them make decisions and let them make this game.
Not the finest of touches from Guzin. Spengler, you saw his reaction. Definitely expected to do better. The joint leader in League One in goals. Powder wins this. Guzin, the referee waves play on. Plenty of space to operate. Here's Burko. Now we'll wait for reinforcements. Guzin. Burko. Finally, the whistle sounds. It is Burko winning the free kick, and Davy Mason seems somewhat frustrated with that. Burko still in a considerable bit of discomfort here, it seems.
You can see Mason's displeasure with the call, but this is also going to be a collective near Cosmos side that going to want to start minimizing some of the threats and some of the clipped in services they have to deal with from some of these dead ball situations. They've done it on corners, they've done it on free kicks. Doesn't matter the distance, you're going to have a ball clipped into your box. And if you don't make first contact, if you don't put yourself in a position to influence the following actions, you could put yourself in a lot of problems.
Armas, it's another rather underwhelming delivery. It's been the common theme for Westchester on these set pieces tonight.
And they've done a good job of earning quality looks, and now they just need to meet that with the quality delivery.
Well, here's Spangler, picks out Guenzati in acres of space, and Guenzati finishes. He has a reputation of lethality in front of goal, and he backs it up here. 1-0 New York.
And this is just tremendous from the New York Cosmos, able to get themselves on the ball. Spangler faced up, he's able to recognize what space becomes available. And you mentioned Guenzati's ability to be lethal in front of goal. His movement off the ball, his ability to not only recognize space, but win that space, so crucial in that moment, and just finds that composure, that clinical nature that he's always presented on any team that he's played for, and that is why he's a New York Cosmos legend, as well as we see traveling fan base enjoying that finish. And that's the play that you feel like has been building up for the New York Cosmos, that ability to quick strike, get Spangler faced up. We've seen a bit more involvement from him, and now Guenzati with the clinical finish.
Three-time NASL champion in the last edition of the New York Cosmos. It's his fourth goal since re-signing with the club across all competitions. A 34-year-old who still has that touch in the final third. And against the grain, a match that Westchester has controlled from the opening whistle, they find themselves behind.
You just enjoy the recognition from both players, because we saw it early on in this half. The Cosmos' inability to move that final defender and win that final action. You saw a number of passes be picked off, a number of passes kind of be negated. And that was the ability of Spangler to move people there at the end.
Evans dances past one, goes in, that's clever. Evans tried for the aerial cross, and it may have taken a deflection on the way. A real promising spell goes begging for Westchester.
Interesting decision from Evans to go and clip this ball over the top, because you felt like he has all the Cosmos defenders facing their own goal. And you almost bail them out by clipping that ball over the top, and they don't have to make a play. Now, obviously, Kofi goes on and concedes the free kick here.
In many ways, a makeshift corner type scenario. We've hit 45 minutes. And we just await on the verdict for our Mar and Mar stoppage time, which is just a minute. Barring something from this set piece, Westchester, despite dominating the first half, will enter halftime trailing. It's Guzin and Armas looking to change the narrative. Guzin towards the heart of the area. It falls kindly, bashed over. And you're hearing the audible groans throughout the crowd now.
This is the service that you're looking for, because if you help this ball along, obviously all the attention goes to the ball, so Burko's able to occupy that far post, has the time to settle it, and unfortunately just not able to get the right technique behind it to force Garcia into any sort of save, or at least put this on frame. And you hear it so often that goals change games. Obviously it changes the tempo of the match, it changes the trajectory of how you approach the match. I also believe the timeliness of goals change games, and the way the Cosmos have come out and scored this right before the break.
Zalanka hunting more carnage, it seems. Kofi. Pass Guzin. Then dunk up. Halftime whistle sounds, and despite a first half that Westchester controlled, Sebastian Guenzati is the only name on the score sheet. The Cosmos lead at halftime in the first ever Battle of New York.
For Westchester, they're doing a lot of work in and around the 18-yard box, but now it's about finding that final pass, that final moment that allows them to earn that breakthrough, and then defensively, can they influence that first pass out of pressure from the Cosmos? Overall, from the Cosmos, did a great job of absorbing Westchester's pressure and then also growing into this match and obviously earning the goal towards the end of this first half.
Sets the stage for a fun conclusion to this Prinx Tires USL Cup clash in Group 5. As things stand, despite a promising first half, Westchester finds themselves behind. Sebastian Guenzati is the difference maker through 45 minutes of action. Stick with us, we'll take a quick breather. When we return, a look around the USL and a look at the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Stick with us, we'll be right back from Westchester County.
At Redefined Meals, we're not just making prepared meals. We're redefining them and raising the bar for what they can be.
Every dish begins with real ingredients, crafted fresh each day, redefining what real cooking means for busy lives.
Discover over 70 chef-crafted meals, freshly made, thoughtfully balanced, and surprisingly affordable.
Good food shouldn't slow you down. It should keep you going. No prep, no stress.
Redefine the way you dine.
Eligible for Medicare? Here's a great new reason to be happy. You may qualify for money-saving programs that could lower your Medicare costs. Just talk to a Health First specialist about programs like Extra Help, Epic, and more. To learn how New Yorkers like you can save, call 1-844-434-6399. Health First Medicare Advantage Plans, where healthy starts.
Come on, get happy.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health. So we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
Welcome back to Westchester County. We're at halftime in its first ever Battle of New York in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. The New York Cosmos hold a 1-0 lead against their hosts from Mount Vernon. At halftime, it gives us a chance to take a deeper dive into the structure and format of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Dan Lucas has more information.
When Hartford Athletics' Adrian Deespace scored in the 83rd minute against Rhode Island FC, it began a furious finish to the 2025 USL Cup group stage finales. Deespace's goal kept Hartford alive in the race to advance in the competition as a wild card. Less than 10 minutes later in Detroit, Matt Sheldon capped Detroit City's 3-0 win over Westchester SC, taking that wild card away from Hartford. Minutes later in Kentucky, Louisville City's Jake Morris scored twice in added time to defeat Lexington SC 2-1. Louisville was now the owner of the wild card, but not for long. Back in Pawtucket, Hartford outlasted Rhode Island in a penalty kick shootout. Hartford Athletic reclaimed the wild card spot that two other clubs held for mere minutes. So how did we get here? Well, after 4 group stage matches, Hartford Athletic and Louisville City were tied with 9 points. The first tiebreaker, total goals. Hartford scored 9, Louisville had 8. And that wild card spot launched Hartford's run to the USL Cup title. This year's Cup promises even more drama. 42 clubs in the USL Championship and League One will form 7 groups filled out by region. Each club will play 4 group matches, and when the dust settles, the 7 group winners will advance along with 1 wild card team, not 2 wild cards like last year. The remaining 8 clubs will be drawn into 4 quarterfinal matches with 1 stipulation. The wild card cannot be drawn against its group winner. The 4 quarterfinal winners will then be drawn for the semifinal round, with the 2 finalists drawn to determine the host for the Prinx Tires USL Cup final.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
Prinx tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines, from early mornings to late nights, from fun with friends to winner takes all, from the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinx tires will be there for the long haul.
300. That's about how many events the Community Police Relations Foundation has done in just the last year.
Tens of thousands of positive interactions between law enforcement and the communities they serve. We exist to break down barriers, to humanize the badge, to foster trust, understanding, and lasting relationships. It's changing how communities see the uniform every single day. Together, we can redefine the story and turn 300 moments of connection into tomorrow's 3,000.
It is halftime in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. We hope you enjoyed the first half. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines for the week. Hartford Athletics' Adrian Deespe had quite the match in Week 10 against Detroit City. He recovered from an own goal to score the game-winning goal in a 2-1 win over Detroit. Deespe helped head coach Brendan Burke achieve his 100th win in the USL Championship. Chattanooga Red Wolves got back into the win column last weekend and added some history in the process. Matt Bentley scored 3 goals and assisted on another goal in a 4-1 win over Sarasota Paradise. Bentley is the 4th player in League One history to record a hat trick and an assist in a single match. In a span of 1 week since the opening of Ruoff Morgan Stadium, Fort Wayne FC has won 2 matches and drawn another, and the play of Tague Healy has led the way. Healy has scored in all 3 of Fort Wayne's home matches and enters this week on a 4-game goal-scoring streak. He's already accomplished a lot at 22 years old, leading NC State to the NCAA College Cup final last year. In 2024, Healy was the MVP in the USL League Two final. Upcoming national TV broadcasts, all in the championship. Rhode Island and Brooklyn next Saturday. Sporting Jackson San Antonio on the 27th. Then it's Louisville City and Tampa Bay Rowdies on the 30th. All 3 matches on CBS Sports Network. Well, the second half is getting closer. Let's get you back out to your match.
Prinx Tires is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Built for practical performance and the long haul, Prinx delivers reliability for everyday drivers like you. Visit PrinxTiresUSA.com to learn more. here in Westchester County at halftime, where the Cosmos lead Westchester SC by a scoreline of 1-0. Sebastian Guenzati on 43 minutes, the difference maker against the Grain, and a packed 914th Infantry hoping for a different second half. We'll take another breather when we return. A look back at the first half from Mount Vernon.
"42 clubs in the USL Championship and League One will form 7 groups filled out by region. Each club will play 4 group matches, and when the dust settles, the 7 group winners will advance along with 1 wildcard team, not 2 wildcards like last year. The remaining 8 clubs will be drawn into 4 quarterfinal matches with 1 stipulation. The wildcard cannot be drawn against its group winner. The 4 quarterfinal winners will then be drawn for the semifinal round, with the 2 finalists drawn to determine the host for the Prinx Tires USL Cup final.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health. So we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
300. That's about how many events the Community Police Relations Foundation has done in just the last year.
Tens of thousands of positive interactions between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Behind every one of them was a handshake, not a handcuff. Understanding instead of fear.
We all know the narrative we usually see. Negative interactions dominate the conversation.
Because the truth is, the good doesn't always trend, but it's just as real. At one of our youth events, I asked a group of kids a simple question. When a police car rolls by, what's the first thing you think or do? One young boy raised his hand and yelled, "Run away."
But after spending time with our officers, his answer changed. That's how you know this impact is real.
Every family fed, every young athlete mentored, and it's changing how communities see the uniform every single day. Together, we can redefine the story and turn 300 moments of connection into tomorrow's 3,000.
We welcome you back to Westchester County, where we get a look at our first half highlights in the Battle of New York. And this, Eric, is the difference-making moment.
Well, for Spangler, his 9th goal contribution on the season, obviously in all competitions. But this is why you bring in a player like Sebastian Guenzati, his ability to flip a game totally against the run of play, against the grain, in terms of how Westchester was seeing a lot of the ball, creating and generating some good looks, but just not finding that breakthrough. And the Cosmos were able to do that just moments before the break, and that just changes the storyline, the narrative that your group takes into the break, especially for Westchester that has seen so much of the ball and have generated a lot of opportunity in and around the box.
And you allude to that here. Westchester advantages in almost every statistical category, but the one that matters is Cosmos 1, Westchester 0.
And the touches in the opposition box, obviously not seen on this screen, but shots for Westchester 7-1, but their ability to turn final third entries into touches in the opposition box has been at a high rate and efficient. 16 touches in the opposition box, whereas for the New York Cosmos, 2 out of their 26 final third entries. So Westchester doing a good job of protecting their 18-yard box, but just not able to minimize some of the back and forth and box-to-box action that we saw in that first 45.
Not to mention, Westchester has the narrow advantage on XG, 0.33 to 0.21. Doesn't sound too glaring, but it does support the narrative that Westchester was the aggressor and protagonist to a degree. As we just get set to get everything back underway. Second half of this Prinx Tires USL Cup clash. Westchester will be going now from right to left, Cosmos from left to right. Westchester making a change as well, and it is an attack-minded one. Alexi Armas, a listed holding midfielder, off for Erman Makic. That is an eyebrow-raising swamp, and that is the only change at halftime for either side. We are back underway. Westchester hoping to make up ground and keep itself in contention in Group 5. The Cosmos looking to pull off a surprise away from home despite spending the bulk of that first half without the ball. Sam Goldfarb, Eric Dobransky back on hand. And Eric, if you are George Jokai, what is the message at halftime after a first half in which you're met with great frustration and then that's compounded by conceding?
Yeah, finish the play. You've done a good job of building through the thirds when you have moments in possession. But in some of the moments where you've found that explosive kind of tempo, they just haven't executed it at the right clip. I mean, you look at the service from Kyle Evans in that half space, he elects to go over the top instead of just driving that on the ground. And then a couple of the decisions and the technical ability right in front of goal, or not right in front of goal, right outside the 18-yard box. I think Connor McGlynn's opportunity from distance obviously sails over the crossbar. But they have done the work to put themselves in positive positions, now finish the job. For the New York Cosmos, great job of living that balance of bend but don't break, making sure that you do have numbers back behind the ball, making sure that you are there to make the final play defensively, and then you counteract that with Spangler on the ball and then Guinzotti, the lethal finish.
Here's Powder crossing this to the back post, headed across, and Blumstein finishes. A massive moment for Westchester, and they're on terms just 2 minutes after the restart. Game on then, Eric.
And this is where early work comes to define a moment right in front of goal, because Blumstein has done the dirty work. He has been physical. He has pressed in some important moments. He's also got himself on the ball where he's dropped into space. So that ball gets clipped in. Attention immediately goes to him. You lose the far post runner, and then you're able to put this right inside the 6-yard box. He's able to tuck this away, and an early equalizer for Westchester. Exactly what George Jokai and his side would have wanted.
What a journey for Kuhn Blumstein, someone who had yet to score in Westchester colors despite signing last offseason. We mentioned it in the first half, limited to just 10 appearances last year with recurring injury issues, an ankle problem that gave him constant issues towards the end of last season. He's worked hard to work his way back, and now the 26-year-old in the Battle of New York has put his name on the score sheet at a huge inflection point of the match. And just like that, Westchester level, and deservedly so.
Well, and then the frustrating part for the Cosmos is you come in to the halftime break, you have that 1-0 advantage. The discussion points aren't about if we concede early in the second half. The conversation is about how do you go push and find the second one. Obviously, that is still the goal for the Cosmos, but when you concede this early, you feel like some of the changes and some of the discussion points are not necessarily negated, but they're definitely affected and influenced by that early goal. And something for the Cosmos. Now you need to start settling in, and you haven't even seen what Makic was put in to do for Westchester, because we've already seen Kyle Evans had to drop in. He's playing closer to Connor McGlynn as kind of those pivot players, but how do they work off of each other? One drop low, one stay higher. And that'll be something tactically. How do the Cosmos counteract?
We were speaking at halftime, and at the end of the day, regardless of how positive the performance was, they needed to get on the score sheet, both from a mindset perspective, having lost 4 of their last 5 matches entering the night, and then also the added psychology of it being a rivalry fixture in the first ever one. That may go a long way, not just in the Prinx Tires USL Cup, but beyond that, if they can get another one and potentially see this out. Noah Powder was left a late parting gift, and he's still prone on the pitch.
To the point you were just making, absolutely right. I mean, there's only so much that you can keep kind of growing off of in regards to identity and style of play and the performance itself without it equating to results or goals. And that's where, for Westchester, they were living in the attacking half of the Cosmos there in the first half. So you come off the field disappointed with not being able to finish plays and find that final action. But that's how delicate this game can be. You can generate some attacks and some good numbers, but never be rewarded for it unless you take advantage of it. And that was a great start to the second half for Westchester, because it does build off of the momentum and the traction that they generated in that first 45.
All in all, a big moment, validating a strong first half performance, and Blumstein opening his account in Westchester colors. Dutchman, who's played at a high level in the Netherlands, played in the third tier, as well as moving up to the second tier with Volendam in the 24-25 season before signing with the club last January. Despite all of the adversity he's faced, the newly minted number 9 has been able to make an impact at a key juncture of this one. And now Westchester with the wind in its sails. Pierre, wide for Burko. Starting to show flashes of ability on the flanks. Guzin ran into a thicket of green. Guenzati ushering it the other way. Spengler. And Pierre wins that foot race. This could be a contentious conclusion the longer it remains level.
The confidence that he's playing with now. He was already relentless in his pressure. Good ball over the top.
Kofi cuts inside onto his right. Was looking to pick out the bottom left, but that was a speculative effort at best. Has scored a number of goals in his professional career. That looked rather hopeful than anything else.
And that was one of my bigger takeaways from the Cosmos in that first half was Kofi was on the ball quite a bit, but the location and the areas that he was able to get on the ball were exactly what Westchester would have wanted to see. Had to come back to get on the ball a lot. Found himself in the defensive half and midfield quite a bit. Was able to get himself faced up, but was so detached from that attacking line that wasn't able to generate any sort of threat. Now that ball right there, obviously doesn't necessarily come to fruition, but you get him on the ball in the final third. His ability to play make is high quality.
Burko was hunting Guzin, just underhit it. Noah Kurt away from danger. The point you bring up is an interesting one about Kofi getting in spots where he can isolate 1v1, because that's a major struggle that Davide Corti highlighted with us today. He mentioned that a big issue with them going forward is disconnects between the lines, as well as an inability to get the likes of Kofi isolated 1v1. And those struggles have seemed to persist a touch here today. Of course, their goal coming more from the boots of Spengler and Guenzati than anything else. Kofi has yet to have a free lane to roam and take on his defenders 1v1. That's when he's at his best.
And the reoccurring theme when you have teams that struggle to find that stability and that sustainability to get isolated in the attacking half is proximity. When you're not in areas where you can work off of each other, connect, whether it's passing or just movement overall, you're not in a position to influence and affect a defender's decision-making. And when you're just kind of sitting in an island by yourself and 1v1, no defender has to move or make any sort of last-ditch effort to make a play. But when you have that proximity, and that's where in the first half it was a struggle for Cosmos, because Kofi was dropping so deep, and then Spengler and Guenzati weren't nearly close enough or working off of different angles to get themselves involved in the play and involved together. So that's something for the Cosmos. It's not only going to be a work in progress tonight, but also moving forward, as they have such a quality attack, but it's a lot of individual play.
Here's Guzin, Since the goal, Westchester has flipped this match on its head. They were in control in the first half, but this is a different level of confidence with which they're knocking it about. Evans, he is confidence personified. That cross cleared only as far as McGlynn. Spengler doing his defensive duties there. Evans again. Burko. Spinning away from danger. It's given away to Spengler. Fans, the best way to spend a Friday or Saturday night is watching your local team with your favorite people. Check out Westchester SC's group ticket offerings, especially if you haven't experienced the new VIP area. Got to be a great experience to be VIP for this one, Eric.
And on top of that, you're getting non-stop band playing in the background. I mean, getting the show on the field and obviously the background.
Makic in space, has a crack. It's saved by Garcia. The instruments have been going all night, and now the symphony's starting to play for Westchester in possession.
And that being the first look of the introduction of Makic into this second half.
Kofi. Rare pocket of space for him, and he can't find Zelonka.
Another prime example of what collective involvement and movement can do. Just unable to get that back line to stay undisciplined and detached from each other.
Well, fans, turn to the CBS Sports Network on May 23rd for a USL Championship Northeastern Showdown. Rhode Island FC hosts newcomer Brooklyn FC at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Catch all of the action on the CBS Sports Network Saturday, May 23rd. All part of the growing platform that the USL has embraced over the last few years. League One getting on CBSSN on Wednesday. How about that match between Boise and Naples? Strong performance from Boise to continue their surge up the table.
What a clash that'll be. Two teams. You see Boise has come out flying. And we've gotten a good hint of what FC Naples can do through their Open Cup run and obviously their continued and sustained challenge they present to opponents in USL League One.
Double change being prepared now for Westchester. It is Blumstein and Guzin getting set to exit. Jonathan Jimenez and Miguel Diaz will enter. So you'd think that leaves Makic as the lone forward. It's good to see Miguel Diaz back at Memorial Field. He was a real eye catcher against Charlotte Independence in the second match of the year on March 14th. Then he suffered an injury and he's missed the better part of the last 2 months before returning as a substitute last week. And now he gets an extended cameo here in a fixture that still hangs in the balance. Blumstein, meanwhile, exits to a deserved applause.
The work rate on and off the ball from Blumstein has been terrific. And as a forward and as an attacking presence, when you have teammates seeing that work rate, I mean, talk about some of the confidence that you get with players on the ball, but when you see them doing that work off the ball, you're doing the same thing in the lines below. Let's see what these changes bring. We've already seen some fantastic energy from Westchester coming out of the break.
Spengler was looking through for Zelonka. Makic. And it appears Burko has moved into that lone forward role. So Makic may play in behind. And this is a scenario that someone like Kyle Evans is more familiar with. He and Burko have played off each other really well to open this year in a attacking mid striker type pairing. Now we're gone and all square in the Battle of New York. Fans, watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
And with the changes, you do see Connor McGlynn kind of sitting in a bit more as that solo pivot. And to your point, Evans able to work off of Burko, but you got Makic in that area. And mentioned it in the first half, some of the Cosmos' ability to play in to those spaces beyond that forward line and beyond that attacking midfield line. Now you just change the starting positions of your midfielders and you kind of get that natural ability to screen those passes, so you're not having to man mark or you're not having to mark space, you're just covering the passing lane. And that's where, for Westchester, you feel like the tempo is kind of ramped up a bit for their ability to get back on the ball and play at a high tempo.
Morabito. Guenzati, the lone goal scorer so far for Cosmos. Kofi. Spengler. Looking back for Kofi. Instead, it's an overlapping run. The cross deflected out for a corner. It's just the Cosmos' second of the night. Another Ice Air corner kick. Ice Air keeping Westchester cool and comfortable. Nick Mendonca. He's the lone man in the vicinity. It's taken short. A long range crack that does force a save out of Marinelli.
It looked like it had all the pace and that last minute dip to be a problem for Marinelli, but routine save there. Marinelli has not had to necessarily come up with that big game-changing save, but you have to imagine that he's gonna have a play to make, and this is the shot from distance. You fight through all that traffic and that makes its way through. You just never know if you're gonna catch the goalkeeper off guard and him positionally moving side to side.
He's a native of Milford, Connecticut. As we mentioned, signed a 25-day contract on April 30th after the injuries to Andrew Hammersley and Matthias Molina. Stepped in after an excellent college career, was the 2025 Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Golden Glove winner, had a goals against average south of 1. Try to say Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
I was going to say, yeah, I was going to ask you to repeat which conference that was, but I mean, this goes to show the quality that we have. Good ball.
Counter opportunity here. This is Diaz. Forced wide. It's cut back, cut out at the source. And it is a corner for Westchester.
It's good last-ditch defending from Anderson Holt. Time you get a player driving at that byline, it becomes a bit nervy because you just don't know what's behind you, and that's where attacking eyes get big and they become opportunistic. So you've got to block that play, as now we see player down for the Cosmos.
It's a concerning sight. It's a Cosmos side that is not the deepest at the moment. Davide Corti talking about having to bring in more experience. It does appear Davy Mason is content to try and continue here. He is one of the veteran presences at 27 years old. You actually look at the starting 11 tonight for New York, and outside of Javier Garcia and Sebastian Guenzati, no one older than Davy Mason at 27. It is a Cosmos side that has a median age on its roster of about 23, and that is a source of concern for the coaching staff, just because they are hoping to have that experience like we talked about. But actually, their average age tonight in the 11, older than Westchester's. Westchester's 24.9 average age to New York's, or the Cosmos's, excuse me, 25.3. Although that may get younger here because Davy Mason is about to exit and Tino Puentes is getting set to replace him. So, disappointing sight here for the Cosmos. It is Tino Puentes, the 23-year-old fullback who replaces Davey Mason, a native of Garwood, New Jersey. So Puentes in, Mason out, like for like swap, right ahead of this Westchester corner kick. Makic looking to deliver here. Outswinger into the mix. Nearly ran through to Jimenez, and now it does. Powder arcing it back in. It's headed along. Bauman racing to it, and the offside flag was up. Well, fans, Westchester Soccer Club is excited to partner with Redefined Meals, our go-to destination for fresh, healthy prepared meals. Scan the QR code on screen for a free meal at Redefined Meals in Hartsdale. For those that are just joining us, we welcome you to the stadium at Memorial Field, one of the historic venues in Westchester County. The site, oddly enough, of the Mean Joe Green Coca-Cola commercial, a famous ad that was shot back in the day. Sam Goldfarb, Eric Dobransky on hand. It is all square between Westchester SC and the Cosmos. It was Guenzati 2 minutes before intermission, and it was Blumstein equalizing 2 minutes after intermission. The game has beautiful symmetry at times, and that is where we find ourselves with a symmetrical scoreline as well at 1-1. Powder looks long for Jimenez, who's muscled off it here. And Tino Puentes passes his first test. Eric, it does feel like the match has slowed a touch. If you are Westchester, how do you pick up the tempo again and find holes in this Cosmos back line?
I think that last play was indicative of what they want to do, because if you can play and sprinkle in some of that verticality, then you get some of that dropping of the back line for the Cosmos. You have them playing on the back foot, then you start to find some space centrally, and you can put those players faced up going at goal, and that's where the tempo can really ramp up for Westchester. So kind of asking various questions and being patient with that process as well, knowing that you do want to open this game up, but it is going to take some poking and prodding, some moments that you don't necessarily always have the numbers there, but it's there to generate it.
Spengler pushes this wide. Spengler has not been shy about picking up the tempo whenever he touches it, but that time was stood up at the source. It is the age-old conversation of pulling defenders out of position, isn't it?
And doing it in a deliberate fashion where collectively, you hear coaches talk about it all the time, that in every match you're going to suffer. And collectively you get to choose how you suffer off the ball. And when you're on the ball, being deliberate in those moments, who do you want to move? What matchups do you want to see? I mean, you mentioned it earlier, the Cosmos wanting to see some more isolation out wide. So how do you accomplish that task? How do you make sure that it's purposeful in the way that you approach it? And then when you have a presence like Guenzati for the Cosmos, that natural attention is just going to gravitate towards him. So how can you play off of that?
Makic looks long for Jimenez, who awaits support. Makic again, this time tees one up. Oh, it's lovely! The Yonkers native has powered Westchester in front, and he's done it in spectacular fashion.
This is both elegant and ruthless in the same play, because he knows exactly what he wants to do. As soon as that first touch comes off, gets it on his left foot, knows that he has to wrap this around Cosmos defenders, and it takes that kiss off the post. Absolutely nothing that Javier Garcias can do. He sees it a bit late, because you see a flat touch come across the face of goal. Your natural instinct is not that a shot is going to come. So, but when you have the touch like that and the idea of what comes next, I mean, what a class finish.
Simply jaw-dropping from the 21-year-old Ermin Makic. And a change takes place. Samori Powder will replace Max Jennings in defense. But before we move on to that, let's just discuss Ermin Makic's journey. Someone who joined the club last season after spending some time abroad in the lower leagues of Serbia, worked his way up to the top flight of Serbian football at one point, but didn't get a lot of proper playing time there. So he returns to the United States, plays a substitute role for Westchester, and this season, his third goal in all comps, scored back-to-back goals to open April in league play, and that is by far the best of the lot in a rivalry fixture to power the Golden Apple in front.
Well, we made this comment about Marinelli, the journey that he's seen, obviously the career that he had in college, just showcases the quality that we have at all levels in this country. And then you look at the journey of Makic. I mean, the relentless pursuit to develop and hone the skill set. I mean, and it comes to full fruition on that finish, wrapping that left-footed shot, giving the goalkeeper no chance to make a play.
Spent time in the youth ranks in the Serbian top flight, then made his way to Montenegrin football before playing a season at Purchase College under George Jokai. And during his time there, 18 goals and 14 assists as a freshman. It's clear he's been ready for this moment. New York is looking for a response. The Cosmos, and this cleared away by Makic. So for those just joining us, Ermin Makic has powered Westchester in front of the Cosmos. He made the trek from Paterson, New Jersey for this first ever Battle of New York. It has taken place. Westchester trailed the Cosmos at halftime on Blumstein, and then on 47 minutes, and then Ermin Makic with a jaw-dropping finish on 69 minutes have powered the hosts in front. A side that has been the protagonist for the bulk of the night now finds themselves in the lead. Noah Kerr. Broken up by Pierre. This time Makic loses out. Jimenez. This is a critical juncture of the match. If the Cosmos can find an equalizer, that throws all sorts of wrenches into the fold. But if Westchester can ride this momentum and find the third, it would all but seal it. Kofi dancing through defenders. Burko. Jimenez. McGlynn. Unprecedented pressure now from the Cosmos, and it's necessary. Fans, Westchester, don't miss your chance to be part of history when we host Fort Wayne for the first time at 7 p.m. on Friday, June 10th. Tickets are on sale now. Change now for the Cosmos. Patrick Bowie is in for Nick Zelanka in a like-for-like swap, native of the Ivory Coast, who joined from the lower leagues of Portuguese football in January. Someone who's still looking to make an impact in front of goal for his new club. This will be a tense 15 minutes and change.
It will be, and for Westchester, it's that delicate balance between wanting to be aggressive and push for that third goal, but also being secure defensively, making sure that you don't leave yourself susceptible to any sort of counter, any sort of opportunity that the Cosmos can generate. But you never want to be casual in the way you see out a game in regards to dropping back, just inviting a lot of the pressure, especially when that hasn't been the narrative of this game. You've been on the ball, you've played on the front foot, you've played at good tempo. Why change that at this point?
It is the ultimate psychological battle when you're in a position like this, because to the point you just made, it is a Westchester side that has been on the front foot for the bulk of these 75 minutes. And for some of that, it's been out of necessity because they've been chasing the match. But since they've taken the lead, now do you sit back? Do you try to kill it off? That is the age-old debate that many managers have with themselves at points.
Yeah, and that's where, for me, when it came up to matchups with my teams, and we're kind of nursing that tense, nervy match, that 1-0, that 2-1, just like we're seeing tonight, there was a lot of influence from what the characteristics of the team were, the opponent, and some of the profile of the players that were on the field, because you have a Sebastian Guenzati who obviously has proven in his career and in the first half that he can be lethal. Do you want to invite him to be on the ball in the 18-yard box as you're trying to see this game out?
Guenzati has a touch of the ball here and gives it away immediately.
So that always played a primary focus with how you set up and how you prepared for some of those late game scenarios and how you saw matches finish up.
So the answer is it depends.
Yeah. I always tended to be more defensive minded. I would almost give my teams until about the 80th minute, and then you'd start to see some of that valuable time come off the clock. You look at some of those match management areas where long on set pieces, long on throw-ins, making sure that you're making the referee make a comment, and then also being very aware of the moments where you can go forward like this. You've got the numbers, you've got the ability, and you're in good position.
Glenn certainly senses that here. Diaz, a dynamo on the right flank. Both crosses cut out. It is another corner for Westchester.
In a match like this where you are earning yourself some solid corner kicks, it's about minimizing some of the counter-attacking opportunities from the Cosmos.
It is another Ice Air corner kick. Ice Air keeping Westchester cool and comfortable. Erman Makic, the would-be match winner, standing over this. Arcing it in. It is an appetizing ball. Garcia first to it. Tracked down by Evans, who goes down. The referee does not see anything in that. Fan Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Closing stages of this one, and it will get increasingly tense as we approach the finish line. As things stand, Westchester would go top of Group 5 in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. Cosmos hoping to change that. Pierre ushers it behind, and it's a Cosmos corner next. Have not had many of these, and they have not tested Marinella yet from this scenario. It's delivered short to Kofi, who has a crack and didn't miss by much. Fans, the best way to spend a Friday or Saturday night is watching your local team with your favorite people. Check out Westchester SC's group ticket offerings, especially if you haven't experienced the new VIP area. Milovanov. Forward for Bowie, who picks out a counterpart. Effort saved and then covered up by Marinelli. Looked like Guenzati was bearing down on goal there.
And this is the look that you want, but it's like that touch gets stuck under foot of Guanzotti enough to not let him release into space, because if he was able to hit another yard or two of separation there, he could have really stepped into that take and forced Marinelli into a difficult save, but ends up being routine in the end. And then no pressure on Marinelli after the fact to even force him to possibly spill that.
This is flicked along nicely. Mendonca is onside and goes for goal, levels the scoreline. The Cosmos on an even playing field with 10 to play. Nick Mendonca pulls them even. That's one that will dampen the spirits in Mount Vernon. The Cosmos punch back.
And this is the recognition that the Cosmos exploited in the first half, and this ability to play forward at such a rate where you're catching Westchester off. You see the appeal for offside, but clearly that back line for Westchester kept the play alive, and just a punishing finish from Mendonca, who's been on all the services tonight, has not found that opportunity to go at goal. Takes full advantage of that chance and equalizes for his side. So you mentioned how tense this game was going to be to finish. Now, even more.
You saw it in George Jokai's face moments ago. He did not look thrilled by that breakdown. Mendonca, just his second professional goal, joining from Chattanooga FC after spending 3 years in MLS Next Pro. Won the MLS Next Pro Cup with North Texas before spending last year with Chattanooga. Now starting to provide some goal-scoring punch with the Cosmos. And just like that, we are all even. And Jokai was pretty incensed by that. He still looks irate with that lack of a decision. But a reminder, there is no VAR in the Prinx Tires USL Cup or the USL.
We'll see how frustrated they were with that call, and then that's where we are in the game nowadays, that you have that iPad, you have quick access to the replay so you could see it. I think the job of the fourth official is already difficult enough. Now you have the technology to kind of go and support your case of why you're so upset about the call, but you saw the sideline official point to Powder on that far side.
And Burko is offside here, so I don't think that's going to go any way to calming the anguish on the Westchester touchline. There's also a player down for the Cosmos at the moment. Well, partner, buckle up. That is the goal scorer, Mendonca, who's looking to run this off. Fan soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Inside the final 10 minutes, moments ago, Nick Mendonca pulling the Cosmos level in this first ever Battle of New York. The Cosmos took a 1-0 lead in a halftime. Then it was Blumstein and Makic flipping the script, and moments ago, Mendonca flipping it back. And we find ourselves in what could be a enthralling conclusion as the whistle sounded against Westchester moments ago and offers up a set piece for Ajmer Spengler and company. This was the exact scoreline Westchester experienced against Portland, and the exact run of show as well, if you will. From 1-0 down to 2-1 up and then level. Westchester prevailed on penalties to claim 2 points. Spengler floats that right to Marinelli. It's a Westchester side that, over the course of its 2-year history, has struggled to protect leads. This season, better at it. Last season, a league record points drop from winning positions in the USL League One. And now Jimenez has lashed out at Bowie, and he may be in for a moment of reckoning. It is a yellow card, and he may be fortunate that it is only yellow.
Yeah, this late in the match, you want to make sure cooler heads prevail, and takes exception to Bowie having that last touch of the ball right here. You see that sets Jimenez off, and very fortunate. Only pick up the yellow.
And they may have just shown Bowie a yellow for kicking the ball away as well. It feel like a derby yet to you?
I was going to say, just even in the scoreline, it feels like you knew naturally this was going to be a heated rivalry tonight, moving forward, the future. I mean, we're all excited about that. But then you have two teams that, when it comes to the USL Cup, Westchester pick up 3 points, and they see themselves right in the thick of things in Group 5. And why not for the Cosmos to come in and play spoiler and be that antagonist that just does not go away? I mean, they score the first goal. Obviously, you get 2 goals right back from Westchester, but just continue to ask those questions. And they've got contributions in some key moments for the Cosmos. So now it's back on Westchester to respond.
Evans darts past Bowie. Noah Powder now. Evans floats it in. Nearly ran all the way through to the back post for Makic. Instead, Kofi onto it. Broken up by McGlynn. Jimenez. Inside onto his right. Westchester continuing to press the issue. Desperate to claim all 3 points. Cross in, Burko chasing. Wins the foot race with Holt. Diaz. Samori Powder. Diaz again. This time dispossessed. Only briefly though. We'll see if there's anyone with a long throw in their locker. Maybe not this occasion. Burko laying it back off and gives it away. Wenzati. Evans, one of the brightest performers for Westchester tonight, and sprays it wide. Diaz, isolated 1v1 with Morabito. It's a clipped cross. Powder back into the mix. Makic lays it off for Evans. Effort deflected. Burko still after it, and Burko skies it. Was that the moment for Westchester?
There is just something about this Westchester team when they get inside the 18-yard box, and that's the key, is when they get in collectively and they occupy those spaces, they are incredibly dangerous. I mean, they're able to protect the ball, put their body between the ball and the defender, force a lot of issues defensively, and that's why they are so dangerous in PKs earned. And some of the movement off the ball and the pressure that they present is unwavering, as we see more physical play right there.
Referee lets play go on. Diaz, there's a man down in the area now. Referee again unmoved. Another late challenge. McGlynn. Milovanov can't clear. McGlynn looking for Evans, and finally collected by Garcia. Well, fans can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XMFC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XMFC 157 and the Sirius XM app. There is so much contact off the ball, and finally a decision is made by our official. Maybe a parting gift from Bauman that earns him a yellow card. Pretty soon they'll be calling this the battle at Memorial Field. The Battle of New York seems to be an appropriate descriptor right now.
This is what those rivalries elicit. Not only the tactical back and forth, and also the emotional highs and lows that you'll inevitably face, and especially with two teams that are so aggressive in their ability to go forward. I mean, two of the higher scoring teams in USL League One, they just have not been able to stabilize themselves defensively.
Both with 12 goals in league play, that ranks in the top 6. Final minute of normal time before we find out the verdict on added time, and penalties beckon here. This is cleared away confidently, only as far as Massimo Morabito. Our Mar stoppage time is 5 minutes. So one of these sides with 5 minutes to find a winner, or we will go to penalties to determine who achieves an additional point in the Group 5 table. This is given away cheaply. Spengler charging forward, looking for an angle, runs into a thicket of blue shirts. Jimenez. He wins the free kick. Fantasy football is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now.
So earlier for Westchester, we had presented the scenario of when you're up 2-1, how do you go about seeing the game out? Do you go after the third, or do you kind of concede some of that space in front of you, get numbers back behind the ball? This would be the same kind of question and scenario for Westchester at 2-2 with a little less than 4 minutes left in this match, knowing that 3 points and how the fine margins play out in this USL Cup, points are at a premium. So does picking up 3 points mean more than having to take this to penalties and take the 2 points? Or, as I mentioned, with points being at a premium, going into penalties and obviously converting and making sure that you pick up 2 ensures that you're right in the thick of it as you go to Rhode Island and you go to Hartford.
Milovanov, Marinelli collects and just about keeps himself in his penalty box. You mentioned it already, but keep in mind, if they drop points here, they have to play away at 2 championship sides, so their hopes of progressing out of the group diminish considerably. For the Cosmos, they would have to win effectively tonight to have any chance at progressing out of this group. So a lot on the table for both of these clubs over the final 3 minutes of this stoppage time period, and in the potential penalty shootout that would follow. Pierre navigates beyond Spengler there. Midway through our added 5 minutes of Mar stoppage time. Marco is chasing. It was a strong recovery from Noaker. Evans, he's sent tumbling, and Bowie penalized. Remember, he is on a yellow. I don't think that meets the criteria of a second, though.
And this has been an area for Westchester that they're going to want to see an upgrade in the quality of delivery, because they've earned themselves a number of corners, a number of free kicks. Now, albeit this being deeper of the free kicks, but you have a player like Connor McGlynn on it, make sure you're putting it in the thick of things, putting it where the numbers are, and then the runners have to be clever with who's chasing the ball, but also who's dropping into space.
McGlynn puts it in the mix, and it's Redick Garcia. And that was simply not good enough from Westchester.
If that's the ball you're going to elect to go with, it has to have some pace behind it. It had too much underneath it, and you're going to get a goalkeeper like Javier Garcia that just is able to meet this.
Now a chance the other way. Kofi is onside and finishes. He has stunned Westchester County, and he may have snatched all 3 points for the Cosmos. What a time for your first goal for your new club. Christian Kofi has ripped the hearts out of the Westchester faithful.
And this is where attacking players generate their own opportunity in terms of the relentless running that Kofi does right there. And we've seen it throughout this second half. His ability to put himself into spaces higher up the field. We saw it in the first half. He had to drop so deep to get himself on the ball. He has played in between the lines. He has made sure to test this back line for Westchester. And that is commitment, relentless work rate to get himself, fight through the traffic, fight through the physicality, and then meet that with the composure to tuck this away and put his team up 3-2.
Christian Kofi's first goal in Cosmos colors, and it may have snatched all 3 points from Westchester. A side that trailed entering the final 10 minutes has flipped the script. Kofi excellent in the next pro ranks. Hadn't quite translated it to New York just yet, but he has done it here. And barring a late collapse, the New York Cosmos will exit Westchester County with all 3 points in a thrilling first ever Derby fixture. And now the Cosmos looking to wrap it up. Guenzati with a myriad of options in support. This time it's broken up. Mendonca. A game of keep away now for the Cosmos. Is there time for Westchester to spring one final attack? No, there is not. It is heartbreak for Westchester. It is pure elation for the New York Cosmos. And Christian Kofi, the hero at the death on 90+4.
Overall, just a gritty performance from the New York Cosmos. Did not always have the answers to the questions that Westchester presented, but they made sure that they found them. They made sure that they continued to press in some of the moments they could, whether they were on the ball and that ability to be vertical and stretch the lines and create some of the space. And Kofi made his presence felt early, but just deeper on the field. And then later on, as this match wore on, his quality going forward, getting faced up, putting himself in dangerous positions, really showcased itself. And it pays dividends with the game winner.
They talked about wanting to get him isolated 1v1. They didn't do it the entire match until the final minute of stoppage time. It finishes New York Cosmos 3-2 victors in the first ever Battle of New York. The Cosmos climb from last in Group 5 to second in Group 5 in the Prinx Tires USL Cup. We'll step aside when we return and look back at a thriller in Westchester.
Eligible for Medicare? Here's a great new reason to be happy. You may qualify for money-saving programs that could lower your Medicare costs. Just talk to a Health First specialist about programs like Extra Help, Epic, and more. To learn how New Yorkers like you can save, call 1-844-434-6399. Health First Medicare Advantage Plans, where healthy starts.
Come on, get happy.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health. So we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
We welcome you back to Westchester County, where the traveling faithful celebrate a first ever victory in the Battle of New York. The Cosmos come back from 2-1 down in the final 10 minutes to win at the death in this Prinx Tires USL Cup clash. Sam Goldfarb, Eric Dobransky on hand. Eric, a lot to unpack here.
but then when you battle, you still need to find that composure, and that he did.
Well, he found the composure when they needed it most on 90+5, one of the final kicks of the game, to power the Cosmos to 3-2 victory. And when you look at the numbers, they don't really show the full run of play because Westchester looked to be on the front foot, but actually the Cosmos with the advantage in a lot of key categories, including the one that matters most.
Yeah, and that's where I give back to the gritty performance from the New York Cosmos. It was just not always there, but they found a way to get isolated and get themselves into moments where they could make plays and dictate the outcome of this game. And for Westchester, did a good job of creating in and around the box, but they need to start rewarding themselves at a higher clip and a higher rate. If you're going to kind of generate some of those looks, you want to put yourself in a position where you could go after games and not necessarily have to play from behind after the break.
It was a heartbreaking collapse in the final 10 minutes for Westchester, a side that entered the day with a chance to go atop Group 5. Instead, the Cosmos overtake them in this Prinx Tires USL Cup. It was a sensational affair. It is the visitors with bragging rights in the first ever Battle of New York. For our terrific crew and my broadcast partner, Eric Dobransky, I'm Sam Goldfarb saying so long where it finishes. Cosmos 3, Westchester 2. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.